Welcome everybody here back at the front office report. Finally, a good Thursday night game. Well, I mean, they've all been pretty good. Not gonna
But
lie.
this is the biggest one on
But
paper.
yeah, on paper, yeah, this
Yeah.
is like you're expecting a good game, which means we're probably not gonna get one. Um, but yeah, we have the Seattle Seahawks going up against the Rams. Seattle coming from a win, Rams coming from a loss. Um, Another division matchup. I mean, these teams have been it's been back-to-back division matchups for these guys.
Yeah.
Even the is it the Cardinals are facing the Niners later, so it's gonna be good. So yeah, I mean, look, today we're gonna do the usual. It's only me and Danny Boy. So we might. I know him and I agree a lot on these rankings. So maybe not the Steelers, although he can agree. He kind of gave up on that fight.
Yeah, I'm giving up on it now. I think we're at the end. I'm at the end of my tether with them. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll go through these and then we'll talk about the wonderful game. We'll talk maybe about some sports gambling that we've been doing, or also fantasy starts. So we'll get right to it, guys. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start Let's nominate the trash of the week.
Texans.
I think. So I'm between Texans and for me personally, obviously Texans because they didn't score. But for me also the Titans, man, they lost me in my Survivor League. They lost me a free
Okay.
$10 bet that's supposed
Yeah.
to be easy.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe
they
you're right
looked
then
horrible.
because Texans are expected to lose, especially against the Bills, and they also had like their starting quarterback is out. Both their starting quarterbacks are out. Deshaun Watson and Tyrod Taylor. They had Anthony Miller has been released, which was weird.
That's weird.
Their rookie wide receiver is injured. It's a complete mess. So maybe you're right. Maybe we should cut the Texans a little bit of slack, whereas the Titans still have their starting quarterback. They're the best running back in the league. They are up against the Jets. They're only missing really two players, to be honest with you. Two major players. So maybe we should
Yeah,
look at.
I agree. I mean we'll talk about the Jets in a bit, but yeah, handling giving the Jets their first. Oh my God, I can't do that. Giving the Jets their first win.
Right.
It just like look, I get it. AJ Brown and Antonio, AJ Brown and Julio were not playing, but
Right.
you're right. I mean, Derrick Henry, like, bear in mind he got you the 20 points fantasy wise.
Yeah.
But he was being stopped quite a bit. He had a lot of his rush attempts like he had nowhere to go.
Yeah. I
Jets
think
defense
they knew
is
though that they were going to be running the ball. That was the issue. Is like the Jets knew it was going to be going through Derrick Henry, or through the backfield in general, and they didn't really have that many options at wide receiver.
yeah. Oh, I agree with you. Let's put the Titans there. You know, they're disappointed. They lost me money. So
And your survivor, that must hurt.
yeah, that one hurt, especially because I had the Cowboys all through the week. I had selected the Cowboys the entire week, and then I just changed it like a few hours before.
Yikes.
Because I was like, oh, Sam Darnold, blah 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 blah. But
Yeah.
I need to. What I learned is, don't pick away. Don't pick teams that are away.
Yeah.
Pick at home. And that's the second rule I learned, and then the other one that I learned the hard way was never to put on Thursday games. But I already learned that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to move in from the bottom to the top like usual, or do you want to change it up and do top to bottom?
Let's just continue bottom to top, I guess. For
All
now.
right, let's do it. Let's do it. I mean, following your nomination for trash of the week, I'm quite happy to just move him all the way to the right for the Texans. They haven't looked pretty the last two games. No scoring opportunities. Very low offensive and well, being shut out 40 points doesn't show for defense either. So what do you think?
I wouldn't put them bottom yet because there is still an 0-4 team on there, which is the Jags. They came close against the Bengals, I guess, but they're still 0-4, whereas the Texans have actually won a game. I guess the Texans are playing the Jags fairly soon, I believe. Let me quickly check. It might be week 6. week 7. I think it's week 8 that they play. So we'll see then. But the Texans have won a game. Jags have not. And also all that stuff with Urban Meyer that makes me even more uneasy on them. Like I know the Texans absolutely stink, but like at least they have like a solid foundation. We all knew they were gonna stink. Whereas the Jags, I think at the beginning we were kind of like putting them up. Weren't they in the second tier? I mean the tier where the Panthers are. Didn't we put them there to begin with? Because they had that potential. The Jaguars, yeah. So they've really dropped off. Whereas the Texans, we knew what they were gonna be. They were the trash of the week 1. So yeah, let's leave it like that. I think the Jets might have to go above the Falcons, in my opinion. The Jets did look decent. It was weird. It was like one game where the Jets looked half okay, and then of course the Falcons lost against Washington.
Yeah, I mean, Cordero Patterson's looking great. It's definitely their way to go.
Right.
I'd still say like the Jets did look good, but I still would leave the Falcons above just because.
Okay.
You know, they are a scoring team. They are kind of like turning it around and having a nice offense. I guess it's the defense that's kind of like flicking them and missing out a little bit. It's funny though because these two will play Sunday morning.
In London. Yeah. So I guess we'll figure out who is the better team in a couple of days. So we can fix that.
Look, we gave Jets an increase.
Yeah.
From trash of the week to above these two teams.
I think there were like 3 weeks straight of trash of the week or something.
I mean, it's the Jets. Like what do you expect? But Michael Carter's looking good. Defense is looking great. Honestly, they just need to get Zach Wilson going.
Yeah.
I mean, just not good.
Yeah.
Giants. I think you and I called it against the Saints.
I know. I actually put the Saints. It was someone. I think it was Seb that put them. I didn't think they were going to win, but yeah.
Regardless, I mean, Daniel Jones is playing well. Barkley's back. Obviously, they're missing two wide receivers. I don't know if Darius Slayton's coming back, but I know he was out and Sterling Shepard's still out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I think they're great enough to move anywhere. But maybe give him back that top eel growth spot over the Lions. I mean, the Lions are kind of like going back to falling and proving us that they are the team that
I was watching or listening to something. Someone was making like a case for Daniel Jones of being a top 10 fantasy quarterback, which is kind of, when you think about it, makes sense because he had 402 passing yards last week, which is an insane amount. I don't think any quarterback this year has had over 402 passing yards, and then on top of that had 27 rushing yards. That's actually below his average right now, but he's playing really well for someone who doesn't really have that many weapons. And I guess he has Saquon Barkley, but it's more of he's a running back. He's not really that much of he's not a wide receiver, so it doesn't help too much. But yeah, kind of insane. Just a little stat there.
I mean, it goes back to what you and I keep saying. There's no need to draft quarterback early because you have things like Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold popping out.
Yeah, exactly.
You just never know. Like, sure, maybe they don't get you the 33, 35 stat lines that Pat Mahomes would give you.
Yeah.
But even then, I mean, you drafted Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes up there, and they're not delivering as much as you would expect them to.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes had that awful game, not this week, but the previous week. And so did Hill and Kelsey and everyone else. So, Daniel Jones hasn't really put up that much of a stinker at all thus far, but other teams, big quarterbacks have.
I mean, they'll be trailing, so.
Yeah, that's the good thing is I think it's Saquon Barkley only had 13 rushing attempts, and then the other two running backs had 1 rushing attempt each, so they only had a total of 15 plays, which were rushing attempts. Daniel Jones did have 4 attempts, but they're mostly scrambles out of the pocket once he gets flushed out. So they're not a rushing team like the Cleveland Browns, where you see that number is doubled. Is very much, he attempted 40 passes. This is a passing team that wants to, are usually down, need to pass the ball. 40 attempts, completed only 28, but still, made the most of it. Only one interception. So yeah, I'm happy to leave the Giants up there. Let's see what they do this weekend. Maybe they go up a notch if they continue to surprise us. Saquon Barkley's getting healthier. I'm trying to see who they play. All the Cowboys. So I mean, if they beat the Cowboys, we definitely have to put them up there.
In Dallas, I think, or at home actually.
I think they're in Dallas.
Okay, that's not gonna happen. I don't think so. Wait, that's 3 home games.
No, I think it must be. Yeah, I was away to say.
Yeah,
it must be.
It has to be in New York. Yeah.
No. It is. AT&T Stadium, Arlington. Wow. Yep. So they're gonna have a tough road schedule coming up. Must be on the road for a little while.
Yeah, they have to take those 3 wins.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that division, I am interested to see, because I wouldn't be surprised. Look, the Eagles did score and kept up a good fight against the Chiefs, but it's the fact that you get either the bust or the boom with this team that convinces me to not move them from where they are.
Me too.
Maybe about the Dolphins, but I wouldn't be surprised if come next week we look into bumping up the Giants and bringing down the Eagles.
Yeah.
It's just it's just not a good, reliable team.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with leaving the Eagles there. I know the Dolphins had a not the best game against the Colts, but if I were to do any move, maybe I would switch those 2. But like I said, I just don't trust the Eagles enough to move them anywhere.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I agree. I think they're very much on the verge of the you gross baddish line. The Dolphins did stink, and I think, if the Eagles are going down, I think the Dolphins might actually follow them on the trajectory they're going. They got cleaned out. It was a 10-point game, but they just didn't look convincing. There was no point in time where I thought, oh, the Colts are going to lose this. It was very much like, the Colts from the outset were kind of just like the better team. So yeah,
absolutely. No, I agree. I mean, the Dolphins, Eagles will come down. Giants and Jets will be coming up.
Yeah.
Imagine the Jets. Moving that to, well, let's leave those 2 there. Let's talk about the Patriots a little bit. That was a fun / not fun game.
Yeah. It was a weird game. I thought it was gonna be a lot more points in it, but yeah.
The weather really messed it up for
Brady was struggling.
For everyone.
Yeah,
was overthrowing like crazy. But the defense looking good. And Matt Jones finally had a nice game.
Yeah.
Myers having, like I told you, PPR machine.
Yeah.
That guy's a PPR monster.
Yeah.
They are up against who this week? It is the Texans.
Yeah.
So I actually have the Patriots defense as my stream
for this. They won't lose any points then.
Exactly. So I guess so. I'm looking at these 3: Saints, Broncos, and Patriots. Broncos kind of showed, obviously, against the Ravens. They didn't show anything.
Yeah.
Really. And with Teddy Bridgewater out, I don't know if he's gonna play. Drew Lock. Sorry.
Yeah.
Drew Lock is out. Didn't look pretty. Hopefully he's gonna look a little better with a whole week of training with the team, or with like actual starting. But out of these 3, I mean, Saints disappoint once again. Broncos disappoint. And the Patriots didn't. So I wouldn't be opposed as to maybe moving the Patriots above those 2 and just leaving the Saints and Broncos there.
I would move the Saints down to just above the Dolphins, and then throwing the Patriots above the Broncos. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I mean, the Saints are a stinker with Jameis
Saints
Winston.
seem to be like really good one week, terrible the next. Really good one week, terrible the next week. Like, if they go and win this week's game, who are they playing this week? I'm trying to see here.
Washington, which I actually picked Washington to win because Washington's at home.
Yeah. Heineke looks good.
But yeah, and again, if it's a defense dream to play against Jameis Winston, so we'll see. I mean, the Saints, again, it's just a waste of weapons there. I don't know when Michael Thomas is coming back. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
I think it's after
Um,
week 8, so it's a while away still.
they have no one to throw it to
Yeah.
besides Kamara, but they're not throwing it to Kamara, so that's the other thing. It's like you're not even using the one weapon. I think Kamara had maybe one reception.
Right.
Maybe if I'm mistaken, maybe none actually.
Let me have a quick check.
Um, s- quite poor. Um,
Yeah, Kamara had 0. Nothing.
zero. Yeah,
0
zero
receiving.
reception. So they just don't use him. So
26 attempts rushing, but only averaging 4 yards a carry, which is not very efficient.
yeah, but Kamara's production comes from those, Drew Brees passes
Yeah.
and getting some 10 yards, 20 yards, from there, and they're not utilizing that.
Man,
And
I would just make
what's the
Taysom Hill
alternative?
the quarterback, honestly, because
Yeah, but
then at least they can run the ball better. I just hate
that's true.
Jameis Winston sucks. He doesn't provide anything. He doesn't provide an X factor in anything. He's not like sometimes yes he has those insane games where he can pass for like 300 yards, 3 touchdowns or whatever, but it's the inconsistency. With Taysom Hill, you know what you're gonna get. It's gonna be a lot of trick plays. He's gonna run the ball a lot, but at least it's exciting to watch. Jameis Winston's more infuriating to watch, I think.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, and this is another team that we'll talk about the Steelers later, but this is another team that if Rodgers were to go there or get a very nice quarterback, the team would be completely different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. 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 Sure.
So Panthers,
Put them up.
they lost.
I'd put them up still, though.
Thank you. I was gonna say that. I thought it was gonna be controversial. I was like, Sam Darnold's looking nice. They were against the Cowboys at home, like in
Without
Dallas,
Christian McCaffrey.
without Christian McCaffrey, and apparently he's good to go this week.
Yeah.
Crazy inhuman being.
Yeah.
So this team has been going up and up and up. I like it. I'm so happy for Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
He finally has a team.
He didn't have his best
something.
game though, because he did. I mean, he had 2 interceptions and was sacked 5 times. So he did struggle a little bit sometimes in the decision making. So
Got 2 rush TDs. So
yeah, of course, yeah,
more
but
than made up for it.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, they're looking good. Yeah.
Would you put them above the Bengals?
No, I don't think I'm ready for that yet. I think
But,
the Bengals have had a tougher schedule as well than the Panthers. So let's see.
I agree, and Bengals are up against the Packers, so
Yeah,
that's
it'll
gonna
be
be another tough
even
one.
harder. Yeah.
But no, I agree with you. I like this Bengals team. I like the future that they have. I think they're gonna go places. They're looking like a playoff team right now. I saw the typical post of like, what would playoffs look like if we keep the standings now, and they were the 2nd seed. So very nice to see. Let's see if they can keep it.
Yeah.
But I do know they have a tough schedule, like you said, ahead. But apart from those 2, Washington.
I feel like Washington would lose to both of those teams though, which is why I think I'd put them further down.
Yeah.
They really scrapped it out against the Falcons. It was
a last-minute touchdown.
Yeah, it did not look good. It was not good. And the reason we put them up there, our thesis at the beginning of the year to put them as an underdog contender, was that their defense was elite. They allowed 30 points to the Falcons. Falcons have not scored 30 points this year. It just was not. I mean, good for them that they scored 34 points, which is quite a lot. But at the same time, they're allowing a shit ton of points too. So
I mean, this is the game that you bet on the under. The one time.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was absolute just. Yeah, of course.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah. So I like that.
No, I agree.
better.
I agree. I do think the Bengals and Panthers beat them.
Yeah.
What about without using that mentality? What about the Bears and Colts? Finally, with the Bears, Nagy committed to Josh. Whoa.
Justin.
Josh Fields. To Justin Fields, so that's good.
Yeah.
With David Montgomery out, I still think Damian Williams is gonna have a workhorse kind of carry, and he's not a bad running back by any means. He's not David Montgomery, but he's not a bad running back. And the Colts won their game against the Dolphins. I feel like I'm just biased saying this, but I would put the Bears ahead of the Colts. But Colts are still showing, that Carson Wentz still showing some signs
Yeah,
of life, and with Jonathan Taylor doing his magic,
yeah.
it's still a tough team. Um, so I'm okay leaving it this way unless you want to switch Bears and Colts.
No, I think both of them have pretty tough matchups this week. So the Ravens against the Colts. So we'll see how well the Colts actually do against them. And Chicago against the Raiders. The Raiders did lose, but they're still one of the top teams in the NFL right now. So both of these teams have kind of like, this is to prove to us that it wasn't a one-off that they won last week. Like, Justin Fields had a terrible first ever start. He came back through some absolute bombs, rushed quite a bit. He looked much better, much more comfortable. It looked like it was made for him. The Colts were playing against a pretty miserable looking Dolphins. So let's see how these two do. I think if, Chicago or the Colts win, they can either leapfrog each other or drop. But yeah, let's leave them where it is at the moment.
Okay. So, are those two teams better than the Steelers?
I don't think. I don't. I just. The Steelers are really just the most annoying team ever, man. I don't know what to think of them because it's like their defense. I say this every week. Their defense like keeps them within shooting range, but then it's like the offense comes on the field for like 30 seconds and goes 3 and out. And it just infuriates the shit out of me. It's just the dumbest system ever. I think we drop the Steelers to underdog contender. Let's see what they do this weekend. Just drop them down a level because I think dropping down a level is quite big, like quite a big thing to take them from a good challenger to an underdog contender. I think if they lose this week at home against the Broncos, and we think the Broncos are not good, they have Drew Lock, this has to be a win for the Steelers. And even if they win, I don't think we bump them up because it just
pretty.
Yeah, I mean, unless they win by like 30 or 20 and it's like, oh, Big Ben's finally like remembered how to play football again, then that might be a little bit different, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
The thing. If I see Big Ben having a good game, then I'll consider it. But if the Steelers still win by like maybe by a lot, but not through Big Ben, maybe as well, because that means that they're like adjusting, be like, okay, we should just use Najee Harris and screw it.
Yeah.
But again, it really depends on what performance I see from Big Ben. It's those stupid mistakes that, to me, it's like you're a veteran quarterback. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be.
I think he's been a bit privileged his whole career because he has like 3 rookie offensive linemen. So that doesn't really help him. But he's had like so much protection from guys who have been with him for like 10 plus years at the Steelers that now that they've moved on to other teams or retired, he doesn't have the same 3 seconds, 4 seconds. He has like 1 second, got to get out of the hands. He has no mobility, so it's really like a second to make that decision. He has no more buying time for himself. So yeah, it is very much a mess. I mean, Mike Tomlin seems to believe in him, so he must see something. If he's not putting in anyone at this moment, like he's not trusting Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins, like he must see something at practice with Big Ben. So let's see. TJ Watt should be back as well, so that's a big plus. Let's see how they do against Broncos.
Yeah, I'll go with your take on putting them down a tier is already bad enough. I mean, even like we bumped up the Carolina and we just moved them above the rest the Washington football team, right? Like we didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't like a big move. Like it already went up a tier, so okay, well we'll start there.
I think like within tiers, it's like you can move them wherever, but when you jump up a tier, it's like you have to wait and see the next game and see how we balance it out.
Yeah, the thing is for me, like, and I'll say it now, but I won't move them. I just, out of all those underdog contenders, I see every team except Washington being able to beat the Steelers. Like, I can see Sam Darnold beating the Steelers. We saw the Bengals already doing it. I can see Justin Fields doing it. Colts is not a team that I watch a lot and too often, so I am not too sure. But I mean, they kept up a pace with the Rams, so I would assume they did.
Yeah.
But we'll leave them there. We'll see where they go.
Yeah.
49ers.
I just really dislike this team for whatever. I don't even know the reason why I don't like them. It's
Look, I'll make the case to keep them there just because Trey Lance is gonna most likely be the one starting, and he had a really nice end of the quarter or end of the game when Jimmy G was out.
Yeah.
A lot of rushing, big bums of passes. Like it was nice. It was kind of very reminiscent of the Colin Kaepernick era.
Yeah.
But they still lost. They still have a lot to show. You still have Brandon Ayuk doing nothing. You still have a running back committee that is like no one really understands.
Yeah.
The only star there is Deebo Samuel, and even George Kittle. He'll get you. Surprisingly, it's like they use him like very early, 5 targets in like 10 minutes, and then just that's it. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna move them up. I just until I see Trey Lance
Yeah.
with this team, I'll make my own judgments.
Cool.
But yeah, it's looking like Jimmy G's not working, so not playing. So
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I just don't like the way the offense of the 49ers operates. And I mean, Seattle's not being like anything special, and they lost against them. So that's that. The one thing I like about this tier though is I think we should promote 2 teams from this tier.
same. Is it the Cowboys and Chargers?
Yeah, I think we need to. It's about time that. I mean,
like
Dallas aren't even a conference contender. You may as well give them the conference now, their division now, and then Chargers as well are kind of head and shoulders above everyone else in that tier at the moment. I still think the Vikings could be a very, very good team. They slogged it out like crazy against the Browns. It was like, what was it? Well, I can't remember the score. It was like a
14-7.
Yeah, crazy low scoring. They slogged it out. It could have been. There's again a number of times the Vikings could have stolen that game, but they just don't steal it. It's like I think once this offense finally clicks and stops giving away like silly mistakes, I think they could be a real conference contender, but they just aren't at the moment, so we have to keep them down there, and of course they lost. And then the Raiders also, we kind of saw them come up against a bigger team, a better team, if you will, and they stumbled. So
Yeah.
still a very good challenger, but they finally hit their stumbling block.
What about Seattle?
I still, even though they have a better record than the Vikings, I still don't think they're as good as the Vikings. Again, like I said, I just don't think 49ers are anything special, so it doesn't really give them much sway. Tonight is the night. If they beat the Rams, that's kick them all the way up there. But for now, I don't see them being better than the Vikings, and I don't see them being better than the Raiders. Their defense is a bit suspect. DK Metcalf hasn't looked amazing. They have troubles at running back. It just doesn't seem that great for me, the Seahawks. But
No, I
I
agree.
could be proved wrong.
No. I mean, the Vikings smoked them last week.
Right,
2
yeah.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
30-17. So it makes no sense to put them above. I think their defense is the biggest struggle.
Yeah.
You know, I can trust Russell Wilson to win me a fourth quarter game. No, like I have no issues with that. But if the defense doesn't stop the scores, you know, and now with Chris Carson out, I do believe in Alex Collins. I do think he's a nice running back, great running back. But we'll see how they play. But I agree. I mean, I personally do think the Vikings are a better team than the Raiders. The Raiders, to me, looked like a team that started off hot and now they're kind of like going back to planet Earth. And the Vikings, like you said, record doesn't show it, but you see it in their games. They're right there. There's just something missing. Something's missing. But I'm still, because of the record, I still think we should leave it as is. Raiders at the top, Vikings second.
Yeah.
And we'll see where that goes. But I can't wait for these two to match up against each other. Hopefully they do. I'm not too sure if they do. But yeah, I mean, in one of my leagues, I saw Kirk Cousin on the waiver wire, and I'm like, I'll take this.
Yeah, for sure.
Like he had a bad 1 week, but before that, he's been killing it. So
Yeah.
all right. Second to last. So we just bumped up the Cowboys and the Chargers. I agree with you. With both, Cowboys are looking amazing. Defense specifically as well. At home. So I'm still curious to see how they'll do away.
Yeah, me too.
But till now, we'll see. Because this team seems like a very. This is why this team ends with a 50-50 record.
Right.
Because at home they step up, but away they really don't.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they made those changes. For the Chargers, you know, you said it yourself. Justin Herbert is just doing wonders. The defense is doing wonders. I mean, sure, they made the game super more close than it should have been, especially when they kicked off the game 21-0.
Yeah.
3 back-to-back. I had an over 2.5 touchdown with Justin Herbert, and it happened so quick. And then the defense is just crazy.
Yeah.
Honestly, Joey Bosa is playing well again. No complaints on that team, really. They're just gonna keep on going up. I think they're the best team in their league right now in their division, above the Chiefs so far.
Yeah.
So they did beat them. So we'll see where that goes. Ravens and Browns. Damn, Baker Mayfield was garbage.
Yeah, I just don't think the Browns are that good, but they seem to like win at the same time. I do think Baker, if you put like a top quarterback in that team, they'd be near unstoppable. But like Baker Mayfield doesn't really do anything for that team. I think he's just serviceable. He's like, if you put him on the Bengals, you put them on pretty much any team in the underdog contender, maybe apart from the Steelers, because the Steelers have good weapons, he would struggle. He would struggle mightily. So I think there's a lot better quarterbacks in the lower tier teams. I think nearly every single team has a better quarterback, but he just like has a good O-line, has good weapons. He has 2 very good running backs. He has a good coach. He's just fell right into the lap, like very lucky guy. So I think you have to keep the Browns there though, because they are winning. So you know.
I mean, I agree. I think Baker's really there to make that team less predictable.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
If it wasn't for them, for him, they would just run it. So he'll be there to do the third down pass and as to whoever really, because you can't trust anyone in the wide receiving core. As an OBJ fan, I was really frustrated though.
Yeah.
Really, really frustrated. I had an over/under on 4.5 catches and didn't happen. He had the targets. It's just the passes were horrible. Maybe one. I'll give the fault to OBJ, but even then, everything was overthrown. Everything was very poorly thrown, and there was one that it was just, I guess, on both of them, they were just purely bad communication.
Yeah.
But it just sucks. I mean, it's such a wasted talent there.
It is.
But yeah, I'm okay with leaving the Browns there. The Ravens, I mean, I really didn't take much out of the game against the Broncos.
Me neither.
I don't know about you. Like
it was a very still game, I think.
Like, okay,
yeah.
cool. Latavius Murray looking good.
Yeah.
He rushed for almost 20 attempts, I think.
Yeah, that's why I picked him up in our redraft league, because he looks like the RB1. So.
And I dropped Tyson Williams.
Yeah, he's not even injured, and he's getting scratched. So he's done.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
I do personally think that the Cowboys and the Chargers beat the Ravens, but till we see them, I mean, okay, we just move the Cowboys and Chargers up. Do we just leave them there for now?
Leave them there for now. We have to see how it goes. I think when you bump someone up, you got to see how it goes. If Baltimore had lost, that's a different story. But because they won, it's like we can't justify it too much. So let's leave it where it is. Arizona got to go up, man. They're the only 4-0 team left, and we had them at the only contenders. So
I completely agree. Wait, didn't I convince you to have the Packers up here?
Yeah, you did.
For the Bills?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We'll get to that later. But yeah,
that tier is getting thicker. By the way, it's weird. Like the top tier is getting bigger and bigger. Good. Like something's got to give soon.
What do you think of the Chiefs?
You know what's weird is I was looking at the odds for the Super Bowl favorite. Chiefs are still the favorite.
Really?
At 4-1. Yep, still the favorite to win. Then it's the Rams. Then it's the Bucks, and then I can't remember who after that. So Arizona, although they're being very, very good, still not a favorite. Not even one of the top 3. So yeah. Just interesting to think about Kansas City. Like they're struggling, man, but they're still really grinding away. I think you got to put. I still think you got to put. I know it's kind of going against our rules. Arizona got to go above Kansas City. I think they're 4-0. Kansas City are 2-2.
That's what I was asking you about the Chiefs, because I was happy to put them below the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Like you said, Cardinals 4-0 team.
Yeah. And
they
then
can easily make it up here, but
yeah,
we'll see.
yeah. Bills had that
Um,
one stupid week against the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers. I don't know what happened in that game, but the Bills slipped in that game. Green Bay
yeah,
slipped in their first game as well. So aside, if they'd slipped again, if they'd slipped like this week, then Arizona can go above both of them. But until that happens, I don't think we can.
yeah. No, I'm okay with these two. Now let's figure out how to place these, because these top two lost.
Bucks won.
Wait. Oh yeah. I keep forgetting because it was so close.
Yeah.
It wasn't pretty though. Um, and well, the Rams lost to the Cardinals, so we already saw the repercussions of that. We brought up the Cardinals up here.
Yeah.
I'm still comfortable leaving this as is.
Me too. I think because the Rams did lose against like a very good like top tier team, so it's not enough for me to like bring them down, because I think tonight it'll be like a revenge game where they go out and smash Seattle. It was just a very odd game. I don't know how to put it. Kyler Murray just put on a show, I guess, and they struggled a bit.
No,
So
I get it, and like as much as Green Bay, we played really well. The team is going back again. It's another one of like kind of like the same story of the Bills, like that one fluke.
yeah, right, yeah, exactly. They're almost identical.
Yeah, and then they've been just kicking butt. I do still like the Packers over these, but until I see these two, because to me the Rams and the Bucks are at their own tier for me right now.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, these two teams are like, can they even be in the Super Bowl? They can't, right?
Who?
They're both NFC, right?
Both the Rams and Cardinals. Yeah.
No, sorry, the Rams and Bucks. They're both NFC. No?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So these can't. So it's either one of these three versus the Bills, according to us.
Yeah.
Okay, so to me these two are like up there. So I until I see the Packers and the Bills play against these teams, I just don't see really
I know.
why we should move them.
I think
but...
I was looking at the Packers schedule. It's not until week 8 that they have like a hard team. So week 8 they do play the Cardinals, which is like where I think we can finally like definitively place those two teams. Until then, I mean, the Cardinals have the Texans next week. Green Bay have like Chicago, and then Green Bay have like another easy team. It's just like it should be wins, and I think week 8 is like the tough week where it's like, okay, we can move up and down the Cardinals and Green Bay. If like everyone wins throughout up until week 8, then week 8 is like the definitive point.
Yeah, you're right. And honestly, wow. So I'm looking at the Packers schedule. So yeah, you're right. The next 2-3 weeks are like the easy. You got the Bengals, Washington, and the Bears, and then you have Cardinals
and Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Seahawks, which is all right. But then you go back and you have the Vikings, which should be in Minnesota. Should be a good game.
Yep.
Then the Rams at home in Lambeau Field, though.
Green Bay could be down to an underdog at that point.
Yeah, honestly, like
it's very difficult.
But I mean, I still believe in the team, man. And with Jalen Smith, and the new cornerback, I do like. Sure, it's not Stephon Gilmore, but I'm happy with the signings.
Yeah.
If there's any place for improvement for us, it's the defense. So
yeah,
I'm happy. I mean, oh man, I can't wait for week 8 though. Packers Cardinals.
Yep.
Oof.
It's gonna be spicy. But that's the thing, is that's what's tricky with the NFL is it's like there's so many like dud games, or on paper dud games, and then you get like the huge spicy ones. But then again, there's been a couple supposed dud games, and there's been underdogs absolutely winning outright. I mean, it wasn't long ago we had Tennessee Titans being Super Bowl finalists. Look where they are now. They're all the way down there, and like.
I was gonna ask you because so for us, Trash of the Week is on a week by week basis.
Right. Yeah.
But if if you were to put them somewhere right now, where would you put them?
Below San Francisco. They're not an underdog contender yet. I mean, we have to give them the fact that they had their 2 top wide receivers out and their center out, and I think their left guard out. So they have a lot of injuries to deal with. So it's kind of bit too.
I just don't like their offensive line. Until they fix the O line. I honestly, well, I was gonna say how does Derrick Henry get points?
Yeah.
with that O-line, but when you give someone 30 rush attempts, then
Yeah.
it's bound to happen.
And like 7 passes as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I like this. I like this. I like our SB finalist row a lot now.
Yeah, me too.
Those are a lot of nice teams. And I'm not. What are we gonna do if all these teams keep improving though? Like
Well, that's why
Cowboys
I'm
and
saying.
Chargers.
That's why I'm saying like week 8 onwards is kind of like we can see because they start playing each other from week
True.
8 onwards. So that's like unless one team stumbles like the Rams did, like the Bucks did, like pretty much the top 4. Actually, 5 out of the 6 of those teams have lost. So like there's
True.
bound to be another stumbling block amongst them between week 5 and week 8, right? Probably. There's going to be an upset of some sort. So there'll be slight movements, slight adjustments. But again, I don't see us dropping Kansas City and putting up Cleveland or Baltimore or Dallas or even the Chargers, really. I think the Chargers would have to go on like a very, very good hot streak from week 5 to week 9 or 10 for us to bump them up and move like Kansas City or Green Bay or the Bills or whoever down. Because I don't think we can have like bump up someone else to that tier because that tier is becoming too big. I think this is the maximum we can have is 6 teams.
Well, I think the only easy up and down would be the Chargers Chiefs. Like if we still see that the Chargers are dominating their division, they'll play again.
Yeah.
Play with the Chiefs again.
Yeah.
If we see that, then we have to kind of like figure out, how to do that switch. But yeah, no. At some point, these teams have to fall, and we're gonna have to be a little more strict with those.
Yeah.
But hey, at least for this week, it normalized a little bit.
Right.
Besides the top one, it's kind of that's not a bell curve at all, but
Right.
it's a bit more proportional.
I mean, the Chargers do have like a fairly busy schedule coming out. Week 6, they have the Ravens. I think week 10. Let me just double check that I'm giving you the right information. Week 8, they have the Patriots, which could be a little bit of trouble, perhaps. Week 9, they only have the Eagles. But then week 10, they have the Vikings, which could prove difficult. So it's ahead for the Chargers, and then they have the Steelers, which may or may not be good, depending on which Big Ben comes out to play. And then they have Broncos. So there's a couple stumbling blocks, perhaps.
Are we back? Are we back?
Yeah. Are you not listening to me?
Yeah, yeah. I either lost you or you lost me. I don't know what happened.
Oh, I don't know. I think I lost you. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, are we done here? We're not moving anyone else, I don't think, right?
Yeah, no, I think I'm done. I don't see any other changes. I can't wait to put the Cowboys and the Chargers above the Browns and Ravens, though. But besides that,
yeah. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks though, because I feel as though the NFL doesn't really matter for the first couple of weeks. It doesn't really matter because teams are not kicked into gear. We've been saying this for a while. I think like it's week 5 now. Teams have to start playing well. Like there's not going to be a sudden change after kind of like week 5. So this is like where like the grind really begins. For me anyway, like I really think like teams can't start stumbling now. We're getting like towards the middle, I guess. Towards the middle. Got another 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you only have one extra game a year now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You still can't mess up. You
Yeah.
know, there's still the stats of like, an 0-2 team making it to the playoffs being super low.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, especially if you
like
look at divisions like the AFC South where everyone has 1 win. Or the Jags have 0, but like the Texans, Titans, the Colts, like all... I think Titans actually have 2. The Colts and the Texans have 1 win. Like it's up for...
Have 2
or do they have 2 as well?
Yeah.
2-2-1?
Rams and the Dolphins, I guess.
Yeah, crazy. So, yeah.
But it's not the best and kindest of divisions. But it's still the NFC show, though.
Yeah, of course. That division is ridiculous. I guess the AFC West is also kind of like that with the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Chargers. Like, it's a pretty tough, but it's not as tough. And also, your division as well is pretty tough, too, to kind of call. So...
That's NFC, though. It's still NFC.
Yeah, and I'm talking NFC, just like not the divisions, the conferences then, I guess. But yeah.
Divisions, yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, we're blanking on that. Anyway, but yeah, let's get back down to the nitty gritty. We have the Seahawks and the Rams in about it's not 40 minutes,
40.
35 minutes.
Yeah. I'm ordering my dinner
Um,
right now, so that's why I've got my eyes down on my phone because I need to get my dinner in. So it's ordered for kickoff.
like this guy doesn't want to talk to me.
No,
He's sick and tired of these
not
tears.
at all. I'm just deciding on what to get. It's difficult decision. You only get one Thursday night football game a week, so.
Exactly, exactly. Do you have any bets for this game?
Do I have a bet? Yeah. So I haven't got any like prop bets that we normally do. I'm gonna think about it. I might actually look now, but I have the Rams. I don't know why, but my bookmaker made the Rams -1.5 rather than -2.5, so I took that.
Hmm. Nice.
-1.5. I mean, it's not that much of a difference, but then again, it could come down
Still a field
to
goal.
1 or 2 points. Who knows?
Safety.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. So, yeah, I'm really just to give you my pick. Rams -1.5. I think the Rams are going to win this game. I don't see them losing 2 games in a row. Just it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Seattle have kind of like been fortunate last week, perhaps a little bit fortunate as well. The difference between the Rams and the 49ers is massive. I think the gap between the two. So yeah, what are you thinking? I'm bringing up my bookmaker now so I can quickly see if I can
The props.
look at anything
Yeah.
nice.
Well, okay. First of all, it'll be freaking hilarious if this game goes to overtime and it wins by a safety, and you get the -1.5, and
I
I
know.
don't because I have -2.5.
Oh really?
That'd be
Shee.
hilarious.
That's crazy.
But yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm actually surprised that it's even that small, the
Yeah.
spread. I
Me
guess
too.
because
Me
Seattle's
too.
at home.
Yeah.
I guess just Seattle's at home, but again, I don't see Matthew Stafford having 2 back-to-back. I guess he didn't really have a crap game, but I don't see the Rams
He had a
losing.
difficult game, I think.
They had a difficult game. But in terms of props, so I have, I discussed it with you. I have, what the hell do I have? I have Matthew Stafford over 2.5 touchdowns and Russell Wilson over 1.5 touchdown. It all really depends on whether it's going to be a high-scoring game or not.
That's the thing, though. A lot of these props are to do with kind of like how high intensity this game is.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that Matthew Stafford comes out swinging, gets 2 touchdowns super early, so then Seattle has to come back and keep passing it, and then Stafford kind of ends it with the third.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I have Daryl Henderson Jr. at how many yards? 60 something, 65, I believe, 64.5,
Yeah.
I think it is. Rushing attempts, which
Yeah.
goes in par with, if the Rams do get ahead early, then that should happen more. And then lastly, Cooper Kupp actually had I believe either 5.5 or 6.5
Yeah.
receptions, which I was shocked. I mean, the guy has almost 11 to 13 targets per week.
It's crazy.
Crazy. I mean, just because he had one bad game, really? I mean, I'll take it.
I don't understand the spread on this game. I just it's the weird. What are the?
But every time we say that, shit happens.
I know. That's true.
Like the Dolphins, remember we were like they must know something we don't against the Raiders.
Yeah.
What happens? They go to overtime and win by 3.
Yeah. That game was fishy for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I don't
What is happening? Like, is this, so
I found 2 prop bets that I'm liking. One's a bit weird. The first one is Matthew Stafford 300 plus yards. I do think this is very much a throwing game, so that's why I was looking at that. Cooper Kupp 80 plus receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Daryl Henderson 1 touchdown, and the LA Rams to have 3+ sacks. That's 9-1. Also, this one, the Rams plus 7.5. Russell Wilson and Matthew Stafford 2+ touchdowns each. Cooper Kupp, 2 touchdowns each. Kupp, Lockett, Metcalf to combine for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns between them. So it would have to be that's a 9-1.
Ooh,
that would have to be very much a throwing game though, because it's all passing touchdowns and wide receivers receiving the ball. But then again, if you look at it, Cooper Kupp is the one scoring. Tyler Lockett and Metcalf are the ones scoring for their team too. There's no Chris Carson. We're gonna talk about fantasy in a minute. I don't have too much faith in Alex Collins tonight, so I don't think they're going to be running the ball that much. The same can be said really for the Rams because they have used Daryl Henderson a hell of a lot. So I'm looking at those two. Both of them look kind of juicy just because I think this is very much a throwing game. I think it has to be a throwing game. But I'm very worried as a Metcalf owner in fantasy because of Jalen Ramsey, him not being able to score the touchdown.
So your prop was Lockett, Metcalf, and Cooper Kupp totaling for 3 touchdowns among all 3 of them?
Yeah, and 250 receiving yards between all 3 of them. So let's say Tyler Lockett got 250 and 3 touchdowns. That would just do it. No one else would have to touch the ball.
That's what I was going to say. The reason why I like that bet is because you never get both Metcalf and Lockett exploding.
It's either one or the other. Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Tyler Lockett gets 2 bomb TDs, as he usually does.
Yeah.
And then Cooper Kupp just gives you 1. And then maybe DK Metcalf maybe just has like...
Yeah. I'm leaning more towards that one. I mean, the Rams plus 7.5, I don't even care about because that should be a lock. I don't see the Rams like losing by a touchdown or more. So that's fine. Wilson and Stafford 2+ touchdowns each. I mean, it's not that much. Both of these teams are in high-scoring games usually, so that's why I'm edging towards that. So I think I'm gonna take that. I'll probably put it on my Twitter if you wanna. Make sure you know what that bet is. You can follow me on Twitter. So yeah, just shouting out myself there. But I think that's what I like. I think I'm gonna just slap like a tenner on that one. I'm not sure it's gonna come in, but I also, I think it's pretty doable. If I think it's correct, that's gonna be a shootout, then I think that'll be
as long as it's not a Bucks Patriots kind of game. How's the weather?
It's fine, I think.
Close stadium, no?
Where is it? Is it Rams?
Seattle.
Oh God, let me check.
This changes everything.
Yeah, this really changes everything. Okay, it's supposed to be sunny. We're good.
Okay, cool.
Sunny with no wind and 1% chance of precipitation.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, there's no weather, and I think these two teams prefer to throw the ball.
I mean, Matthew Stafford clearly does. He's probably.
And so does Russell Wilson. I mean, the good thing about Russell Wilson though is he loves to throw like the 50-yard passes. Like he loves to air the ball. I love like watching him on like 3rd and 15 because it's going to be launching the ball downfield for a big gain.
It's the Aaron Rodgers times 2 kind of vibe because Aaron Rodgers does the same. He like I don't know where like they run and then I don't know where just like a big bomb.
Yeah.
MBS or well in this case Randall Cobb. Now that MBS is out, but Russell is just like let him cook and he'll throw that nice parabola into Lockett.
Yeah.
Lockett smokes any cornerback. Jalen Ramsey is definitely gonna be with DK Metcalf, and I remember this last year. I had DK Metcalf and I was considering like not starting him.
Yeah.
Because he was against Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey scares me.
He does, and I started him because I was like, okay, well this is the guy I drafted. It's DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
And he got me like 5 points. So if you're wondering whether to ever sit a star, I wouldn't judge you if you were to sit down DK Metcalf today.
Yeah.
Thursday night game with 4 days of rest.
I'm unsure though because if Jalen Ramsey really is on DK, they're gonna throw the ball to Tyler Lockett and he is better than their other DBs. I have a feeling Jalen Ramsey might be like on one or the other depending on the yardage, but depending on how much they're throwing the ball to them. Tyler Lockett's just as good as DK in my opinion, like if not better. So that's the good thing about Seattle. They don't have that one guy, kind of like Green Bay. They have Devontae Adams. There's no one on his level, so Jalen Ramsey's going to be on him. This team is a bit different.
I think the problem is because is Ramsey known for his speed? No, right? Not really.
Not really, but at the same time, he covers everyone. Like DeAndre, like he just can cover anyone.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, like, if you think about it, because the thing with Lockett is his speed.
Right.
It's whether you can keep up with him. With DK though, DK is huge, and he has great catching ability, and he's a nice jumper. So you need someone to stick to him like glue
Right.
that is really good at coverage, and that's
Yeah.
why Jalen Ramsey goes in there.
Yeah.
You don't. I wouldn't want to waste a talent like Jalen Ramsey getting smoked speed wise by
Right.
Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they just put him on DK Metcalf and then just try and double cover
Yeah.
Tyler. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, the other one that you were mentioning was 3 sacks by the Rams. I think that's good as well.
Yeah.
I think that's really doable. I think Russell Wilson gets sacked quite a bit. Um, it's gonna suck because you'll see him getting like running away from the O-line. You're like, take the sack.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
but you'll get there. But all right, let's talk fantasy. So Chris
Yeah.
Carson is out. That's confirmed.
Oh, it is confirmed. It was just questionable earlier, so it is confirmed now.
He is officially out. Now,
All right.
the question is, do you start Alex Collins?
No. Is my
If you,
answer.
I mean, you flex him. You don't sit down a star for him.
Yeah. Right.
But, I mean,
I think if you have bets, I think if you're really juiced for a running back, you can start him.
Like,
but
for example, I lost David Montgomery, but I have Damian Williams and Alex Collins. I still think Damian Williams is gonna get a better, more of a workhorse on a rushing campaign. So if I decide to choose Alex Collins, which I have to decide in 30 minutes, I would have to put him in my running back and then flex Damian Williams.
Yeah.
And that would mean I'd have to bench either CeeDee Lamb or Brandon Cooks.
Right.
CeeDee Lamb hasn't been doing really well. I mean, they haven't really needed him. That's the thing.
Yep.
And Brandon Cooks, they're against the Patriots. So I might actually give it a go with Alex Collins. Even if he gets me 10 points, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And Brandon Cooks gave me less than 10 last week, and they're against the Patriots defense. So I think I might actually give it a go with Alex Collins and then put flex Damian Williams. What do you think?
Yeah, I would personally stay away from Alex Collins just based on the matchup. The front line of the Rams are dangerous, and I just, like we said earlier, I just don't know if this is going to be a running game at all. I'm not sure you also want to be putting the ball into, Alex Collins' hands that much. I feel like if you're struggling for a running back and you have injuries, have Christian McCaffrey out or like you said, David Montgomery out, then of course you can go throw him in. But I don't know. I don't like it. I don't personally like it. I'm sure there's better options. Like for example, for you, I would definitely start Damian Williams over him because Chicago is a running team. It relies on David Montgomery a lot, so they're gonna have to plug him in. Can't expect Justin Fields to be throwing darts all the time. Whereas Seattle are probably gonna be down. They can't afford to be running the ball all that much. They're gonna be wanting to get work done to Tyler Lockett. And also, who's their tight end right now? Seattle's. Is it that Swain guy?
He's a tight end.
I don't even know.
So the only reason why I'm thinking about Alex Collins more is because Cardinals weren't they weren't a rushing team either.
Yeah.
And both James Conner and Chase Edmonds feasted last week.
Yeah, that's true.
So I just think the opportunity is there again to get me at least the 10 points for sure. I feel like he's a safe pick to get you those 10 to 12 points. And if you don't have that, like, might as well just plug it, trust it.
Yeah.
And, if he disappoints, then he disappoints.
Yeah.
You're dropping in next week because Chris Carson might be back.
Right.
So, I mean, if you have him in the roster, you're picking him up for this week and this week only.
Right.
Like, why would you pick him up and then leaving him in your bench, and then you can see him in the bench with 20 points and you'd be like, oh, why did I pick him up and now I have to drop him? So if you're picking him up, if you have him in your roster, you would plug him in.
Yeah.
If you have the space for it. What other I mean, we're thinking. Let's keep talking about Seattle, I guess. While you're trying to look for the tight end. Again, we talked about DK Metcalf and Lockett. I mean, take your pick, flip a coin. One of them is gonna feast. The other one's probably gonna be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey. And Russell Wilson, of course, you start him. And I guess that's it from Seattle.
Seattle, I think you just play, you got to play DK and Tyler Lockett for the big gain opportunities. I think the one question mark that is probably the biggest question mark of the entire game is what do you do with Robert Woods, who has been absolutely terrible. Let me try bring up his stats.
I have my answer, though.
You're going to start him?
I'm starting him purely based on what Sean McVay said last week. That he's like, we need to use him more. We have the talent in him. We just have to pass him the ball more often. Like he is there. He's there for all the snaps.
Right.
Most of them anyway. He's just not being on the
yeah.
ball.
I mean,
whether it's because he can't get free himself or Stafford just doesn't.
He's not had more than 5 receptions. Not had more than 5. That's bad.
So, I would do it just because you drafted him. Some people drafted him above Cooper Kupp. Like Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods were
I know a lot of people who did that and wish they could reverse that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're being drafted together, and I mean, you kind of had to take your pick because you didn't know what Matthew Stafford was going to do. But at this point, you're kind of like in a what do you call, like a last minute, let's do it. Like if Sean McVay says that they want to use him more, I'll put him in.
Yeah. If
he has a bummer of a game, I would trade him high.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, then sucks to suck. I would consider dropping him if there's other options out there.
Yeah.
If you're in a small league and you have, I'm thinking who could be available. I mean, Michael Thomas. Maybe you could get a trade out for Michael Thomas with Robert Woods.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start trying to trade for Michael Thomas pretty soon, probably with the state that the Saints are in their wide receivers. But yeah. I mean,
but yeah, I mean, I would play him. I think if you're thinking what we're thinking, which is that you're gonna have a big game from both.
Yeah.
Jermaine Ross. Sorry, we missed you completely. What are y'all bets?
Ooh.
Well, we talked a little bit about. Okay, first of all, I guess we went for the -2.5 and -1.5 Rams victory for sure.
Yeah.
And we were going by the logic of this is going to be a big scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I have over 2.5 of Matthew Stafford touchdowns, over 1.5 touchdowns for Russell Wilson. So, combined 5 touchdowns. At least, and then I have Cooper Kupp had an over, I think it was 6.5 receptions.
Yeah,
they're 5.5 or 6.5. So I was like, silly, unless the world doesn't like me, this won't happen. And then I put Daryl Henderson. Initially, I had Daryl Henderson for 15.5 rush attempts, but the rush yards looked a little juicier, especially if they're gonna get ahead earlier. So that was me. I had a free bet. So I just put it there, and let's see if that happens. Dance were more interesting though. So do you want to recap your bets there?
Yeah. So my main one is definitely going to be Rams -1.5 if you're lucky to get that number, or Rams -2.5. I think the Rams are going to go away with it. But my kind of like prop bets were, I've got 2 that I'm thinking of. The first one, both of them are 9-1. First one is Matthew Stafford 300+ passing yards, Cooper Kupp 80+ 300. Yeah, Cooper Kupp 80+ receiving plus 1 touchdown, Daryl Henderson 1+ touchdown, and the LA Rams to have 3 sacks. But the one I'm steering closer to is Rams +7.5, which I think will definitely hit. Russell Wilson and Matthew Stafford 2+ passing touchdowns each, so 4 total. Cooper Kupp, Tyler Lockett, and DK Metcalf combined for 250 reception yards and 3 touchdowns. So between them, 250 receiving yards and then 3 touchdowns. So that one's more interesting because I'm rooting for like both teams to go all out, whereas with the first bet, it's very LA Rams based. I want this to be a shootout. Therefore, I'm thinking of picking the second one. And also, I like the option of combining, because there's often a lot of times where, like we said, Seattle have one wide receiver go off for like 100 yards and the other one maybe for 50. You don't want to pick the wrong one, so let's combine them. I think, Kupp, Lockett, and DK Metcalf are kind of like the only 3 wide receivers there who are going to make a huge difference. Yes, Robert Woods is a factor, of course, but Kupp seems to take away, most of that yardage for that team. So both are throwing friendly teams too. So that's why I'm going for definitely pass heavy. Let's pray that it's not going to become a run game, because then I'll be screwed.
Yeah, no. For me, is that I'm just hoping it's not like a Buccaneers Patriots. I had that same mentality that I have now. Like, this must be a big scoring game. It's Tom Brady at home, against
the weather was messed up though,
and the River just got there, and Leonard Fournette had 20 rush attempts, so
that
ended
crazy.
that bet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I like we said, the weather's sunny. It's in Seattle, so Seattle's gonna come out swinging, and Rams, we can expect them to come swinging anyway.
Yeah.
I wonder what's the over on Alex Collinson's yards.
I probably wouldn't put it over 40 if I were you. If that is the over under, around about 40. If it's like kind of like 60, I really would not.
Yeah.
And how much is it?
53.5.
Yikes.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. But
yeah,
I'm starting Alex Collins, and I just wouldn't put my money there. But
yeah,
I'm already suffering once. It said Russell Wilson 24.5 rush yards, dude.
I like that.
Matthew Stafford was at, I think, 5.5.
Yeah.
4.5. And Russell Wilson 24.5 rush yards.
Crazy.
And yeah, so what else on the LA Rams side? So we have, obviously, you start Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Guys gonna have the usual. I think he had a stinker of a game last week, but he'll make up for it. The only reason he had a stink of a game was because he knew that I was playing against you, so all my players just decided to say, no, I do not play today against
that was so funny.
Dan's team.
Yeah, your players just did nothing.
Kelsey, CeeDee Lamb, and Cooper Kupp summed up for less than 15 points.
Yeah, crazy.
Who'd have thought? Daryl Henderson, I would start him. I think the Seattle defense
I'm starting him.
We all saw what Derrick Henry did to that rushing defense.
Yeah.
I think if you have a player here, you start him. Unless you're like in deep leagues and you're considering maybe Sony Michel. I personally wouldn't. Who else I'm thinking? I guess Alex Collins. Like I said, I would start him. Reynolds, is it? Josh Reynolds?
Josh Reynolds, yeah. No, he's on the Titans.
Oh, so who's the Reynolds guy on the Rams? Who's the third?
Let me check.
Third receiver.
I will check.
I think it is. I think his name is Josh Reynolds, though.
Is it? Maybe there's another Josh Reynolds then. It's Deshaun Jackson and Ben Skowronek. I don't know who that is. And Van Jefferson. So yeah.
Van Jefferson. That's what I was thinking.
Although Deshaun Jackson had a monster game the other week. So
yeah.
Against
Jefferson
the
as
Bucks.
well. I think he had a touchdown or two. I can't remember.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns and like something like 150 yards or something stupid. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, but it's hard. It's like take your pick.
Right.
I think it'd be cool to see, Russell Wilson throwing a bomb to Tyler Lockett, and then Matthew Stafford coming back throwing a bomb to Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, that'd be
kind of cool.
That'd be perfect.
Again, if you're in a deep league and you have a play like super deep league, like I'm talking maybe you have like 3 wide receivers and a flex.
Yeah.
Then I would definitely consider maybe putting things like Van Jefferson and Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
Besides that, I don't think I would. Tyler Higbee, it would be a great tight end start. Thursday games. So far, all Thursday games have been super high scoring. And not that it's anything related, but Usama had a baller game against the Jags in the tight end position. So, hey, Thursday could be the tight end's day.
Yeah.
Who knows? It would really suck if you don't get your yards because Higby's getting them all.
Yeah, that would suck.
Um, but yeah, I mean overall, it's gonna be a great game. I don't unless anybody else has any more fantasy questions.
No,
Um,
time to get ready for the game.
Time to get ready for the game.
Yeah,
Oh, well, I got pizza. What do you get?
that's exactly what I'm getting as well.
Oh yeah,
Pizza is
pizza.
Thursday night is pizza night, man. Gotta sit there
Hell,
and sit there
hell
and
yeah.
yep, let's get it.
Um, yeah, we should do a. So if you guys are interested, Dan and I play a lot of Warzone. Um,
we need more people in our squad.
if anyone is watching right now and is looking for a duo squad for some nice quads or rebirth, hit us up.
Hit
You
us
know
up,
where to
man.
find us. Dan already promoted his Twitter. I'll promote my Warzone ID.
Gaming. We need people
Your
to
gaming
carry
ID.
us.
Sentlin. Let's go. So give us a shout. Besides that, I hope you guys have a great Thursday evening. Enjoy football. Enjoy your food. Uh, Best of luck to all of you guys with your points in fantasy.
Yep. Or your gambling
And
addiction.
let's and yep. I just didn't want to advocate it, but yes, that too.
Bet responsibly.
So responsibly, don't bet the money you can't bet.
Yeah.
But anyways, having said that, thank you guys for sticking around. Give us a like, give us a sub. Like I said, reach out to us on TikTok, Instagram, and even Warzone, and we'll see you guys there. Happy trails, happy Thursday.
Go
Peace.
Rams.